The galaxy was vast, stretching farther than most humans could even imagine. Stars shone like tiny jewels scattered across the black velvet of space, and planets of all sizes and colors spun silently in the darkness. Yet, despite its beauty, the galaxy was not free. It was ruled by alien coalitions, powerful groups of species that had long since learned to dominate anyone weaker than themselves. Humans were at the very bottom. To most aliens, they were weak, fragile, and easy to control. They were given only the simplest tasks: mining dangerous planets, repairing machinery, cleaning ships, and running errands. They were seen as useful tools, not as living, thinking beings. On the mining planet of Lorien, the ground was always gray and dusty, and the sky was a permanent swirl of orange and brown clouds. The air was heavy with dust, machines roared continuously, and the alien overseers never stopped watching. Alice wiped the sweat from her brow as she watched a group of human workers struggle to repair a broken drill. The overseers, tall and thin with long limbs and pale green skin, stood nearby, their eyes glowing faintly as they monitored every movement. Any mistake meant punishment. Any delay meant harsh consequences. Alice's hands ached from the work, but it was not just the physical pain that made her feel weary. It was the constant sense of being less, of being watched and judged, of never being able to rise above what the aliens thought of her. She looked over at Henry, who was lifting a heavy metal beam with the help of two other humans. Henry's face was streaked with dirt and sweat, but his eyes were sharp, intelligent, and alive. He glanced at Alice for a brief second, and in that look she saw the same feeling she had, the burning frustration of being treated as less than human. "Another shift," Henry muttered quietly, his voice rough from the dust and the long hours. "Another day of doing things they think we can't handle." Alice nodded. "But we do handle them. Every time. They just don't care." Around them, the humans moved like shadows, working tirelessly while their alien overseers paced back and forth. Every so often, a machine would break, and the overseers would scream orders in a harsh, guttural language that Alice and Henry could not understand. They learned to watch the machines and anticipate the next failure because hesitation could mean punishment. One worker, a young man named Leo, dropped a component by mistake, and one of the overseers moved with terrifying speed, slamming him against a wall. Leo gasped, clutching his arm, and the other humans turned away quickly, afraid to draw attention to themselves. Alice clenched her fists, anger rising inside her. She wanted to scream at the overseers, to tell them that humans were not toys to be broken or tools to be used. But she did not. Not yet. There were too many eyes watching, too many dangers in speaking out. Instead, she let the anger burn quietly, deep in her chest. That anger, she felt, was important. Was a spark. Henry leaned closer to her as they carried another heavy beam. "Do you ever think," he whispered, "that one day we'll just stop? That we'll say no? That we'll show them that we are more than this?" Alice looked at him, surprised. "Stop?" she asked. "Do you really mean it?" Henry nodded. "Yes, I do. We keep bending, keep obeying, but maybe there's a day when enough is enough. When we finally say no more." Alice's heart raced. She had thought the same thing many times in secret, but she had never dared to say it aloud. "But how?" she asked. "They are too strong. They control everything. We're too few, too weak." Henry shrugged. "We have to be clever. We have to be patient. But the spark is there. I can feel it." All around them, the humans continued their work, tired and silent. Yet even in that silence, whispers of hope were spreading. Quiet conversations in hidden corners. Secret notes passed between workers. Stories of humans who had refused impossible orders and survived. It was dangerous, but it was growing. Alice thought about her childhood before the aliens had arrived. She remembered stories her grandmother told her of Earth, of forests and rivers and skies that were blue and wide. She remembered playgrounds where children laughed, schools where learning was a joy, and nights when the stars were watched with wonder, not fear. It seemed so long ago and so far away. But that memory was alive inside her, a reminder that humans had once been free, and that freedom might still exist somewhere, somehow. Henry stopped for a moment, looking out over the dusty plains. "Do you remember what they say about humans?" he asked quietly. "That we are weak, fragile, that we won't last a year under their control?" Alice nodded. "Yes, they say it all the time. I've heard it every day since I arrived here." Henry smiled faintly, a dangerous glint in his eyes. "And yet we're still here. Still working, still surviving. They underestimate us. Always. And that is where our power comes from." Alice looked at him, uncertain. "Our power?" "Yes," Henry said. "They think we are small, weak, and easy to control. But we have patience. We have endurance. We have the ability to adapt. They cannot see it yet, but one day they will learn that humans are not so simple to break. Alice felt a thrill of hope at his words. She had felt it before deep inside, but Henry's voice made it feel real. For the first time in a long while, she imagined a future where humans were more than workers and tools. She imagined a future where humans had a voice in the galaxy, where they were respected, not feared or pitted. The days on Lorien were long, filled with back-breaking labor and the constant watch of the overseers. Machines broke, alarms screamed, and humans fell to the ground from exhaustion. But even as they suffered, the humans learned to communicate in small ways, passing messages with subtle gestures, sharing food secretly, helping one another survive. Every small act of kindness, every whispered word of encouragement, built a sense of community. And with community came courage. One evening, as the orange sky began to darken into the black of night, Alice and Henry sat in a small shelter hidden among the mining equipment. Around them the other humans slept or rested. The overseers had retreated for the night, their glowing eyes gone from the compound. The quiet was almost comforting, though it was fragile and temporary. Henry pulled out a small, tattered notebook he had hidden from the overseers. "Look," he said, opening it carefully. Inside were sketches of machinery, notes on alien patrol schedules, ideas for tools humans could build themselves. It was a plan, simple and crude, but it was a start. Alice leaned over to look. This could work," she whispered. "If we could build even a few of these, maybe we could do something." Henry nodded. "Yes, but we must be careful. We can't rush. We can't be careless. They are watching, and one mistake could destroy us all." Alice felt the weight of his words, but also the thrill. For the first time she believed that change was possible. That humans were not simply toys in the hands of stronger species, but beings capable of strategy, courage, and resistance. She felt the spark inside her grow, warming her chest, lighting her mind. The nights passed slowly, and every day brought new challenges. The overseers were relentless, pushing humans to their limits. But in the hidden corners, in whispers and gestures, in shared smiles and secret plans, hope grew. Alice and Henry were not alone. Around them, other humans were beginning to feel the spark, the quiet defiance that refused to die. Alice thought about what Henry had said, "One day they will learn humans are not so simple to break." She believed it now. She believed that humans could survive anything, endure anything, and eventually rise above their chains. The spark inside her had grown into a small flame. And she knew, deep in her heart, that this flame would not be extinguished. The galaxy was vast and humans were small. But even in the shadow of giants, even in the face of impossible odds, a fire had begun. And when the time came, Alice and Henry, along with countless others, would ignite it into a blaze that the galaxy could never ignore. For the first time in a long time, Alice smiled, not with relief, not with joy, but with determination. The humans were tired of being weak. They were tired of being overlooked, ignored, and abused. And one day they would say what no one had ever heard before: enough. The galaxy might have seemed endless and dark, but for the humans, small corners of space became places of secret hope. Out of sight of the alien overseers, in hidden bases carved into asteroids or abandoned stations, humans gathered. They whispered in quiet voices, shared plans on tattered paper, and tested ideas that no alien could imagine. It was risky, terrifying even, but there was a thrill to it, a taste of freedom even in the shadows. Maya crouched in the control room of a small, forgotten space station on the edge of the Turvan belt. Her fingers moved quickly over a console, blue and green lights flashing across her face. She was hacking into alien communication lines, slipping past firewalls and security systems designed to stop her. Every second she risked detection, and if she was caught, there was no mercy. But Maya didn't care. Not anymore. The messages she intercepted, the data she collected, could save lives, or spark something much larger. Across the galaxy, in a storage depot on a dusty moon, Ethan worked quietly, dismantling and sabotaging supply transports. The ships were meant to bring food, water, and materials to the alien fleets, but Ethan found ways to make small errors appear accidental. A loose wire here, a clogged fuel valve there. Nothing dangerous to humans, but enough to slow the enemy and give humans an advantage. Every minor success filled him with a strange, dangerous joy. It was not rebellion yet, not in the open, but it was a start. Maya and Ethan were part of a larger network, humans scattered across hidden outposts and secret stations. Their communications were careful, often sent in coded signals or through hidden channels. Some humans even disguised themselves as alien workers, slipping past patrols and gathering intelligence. Every discovery, every piece of information, was carefully logged and shared among trusted allies. The most exciting rumors began to spread one day, whispered first in small gatherings, then carried across secret channels. There was an old human shipyard, hidden in the outer reaches of the galaxy. Some said it was abandoned, left behind when humans had been first forced off their home worlds. Others said it still held plans and technology, machinery capable of building warships unlike anything humans had today. The truth did not matter as much as the hope it inspired. The thought that humans could once again create ships of their own, vessels powerful enough to defend themselves, filled the rebels with determination. "Do you think it's real?" whispered one young man named Liam as he listened to a group of humans in a hidden station. "The shipyard, the warships?" Maya, leaning against the wall with her eyes still on the console, shook her head. "I don't know. But it doesn't matter. Even the idea of it gives us hope. And hope is dangerous for those who want to control us." Ethan laughed quietly. "Hope is all we've got. If we lose that, we might as well give up." The humans nodded. They understood the danger, but they also understood something else. Small acts of defiance mattered. Even tiny victories reminded them that they were not powerless, that they could push back even in the smallest ways. Over time, a phrase began to spread quietly among humans. At first, it was spoken in whispers, "Enough is enough." It became a promise, a silent anthem that could be shared in a glance, a gesture, or a quiet word. To say it aloud was dangerous, but to think it, to carry it in your heart, was liberating. Enough was enough of being treated as tools. Enough was enough of being ignored. Enough was enough of the endless labor and the constant fear. In one hidden station, a group of humans gathered around a small, flickering holomap. Alice and Henry, who had survived years of work on Lorien, had joined the rebels. They were no longer just workers, they were strategists, planners, and guides. Henry pointed at the star system where the rumors said the old shipyard existed. "If we can reach that shipyard," he said, "if it's still intact, we could have ships of our own. Not just for defense but to show the galaxy that humans are not weak. That we can fight back." Alice nodded, her eyes shining. "I've seen what we can do when we work together. The aliens think they control everything. But they don't control us. Not really." Around them, the others whispered and nodded. Every human in that room knew the danger. If the aliens discovered even a hint of this plan, they would act quickly. But fear no longer ruled them. Hope did. Maya returned from her hacking mission one evening, bringing news that made hearts beat faster. "I've accessed alien patrol logs," she said. "There are routes we can use, places they never check. It's risky, but it could get us closer to the outer systems, closer to the shipyard." Ethan leaned forward, his voice low. "Then we plan. Carefully. Step by step. One wrong move and it's over. But one right move and we start something they will never forget." The humans worked in secret, meeting in small groups, sharing information cautiously. They trained themselves to be invisible, to avoid attention, and to work as a team. Every minor success, delaying a supply convoy, intercepting a message, finding a safe path through patrols, made them bolder. Their confidence grew slowly, quietly, like a fire hidden under ashes, waiting for a gust of wind to ignite it fully. In one remote asteroid field, Alice and Henry practiced maneuvers with a small shuttle, testing speed and agility. "We're slow now," Alice said, "but every small skill counts. We're learning, and when the time comes, we'll be ready." Henry smiled. "Ready to make them regret underestimating us. Ready to show them that humans can think, can fight, and can survive." The phrase, "enough is enough," was repeated often, even silently, in their hearts. It became more than words. It was a promise to themselves, to each other, and to the countless humans still trapped under alien rule. The spark that had begun on Lorien was spreading, growing into something larger. As the months passed, humans began taking greater risks. Supply lines were delayed, small sabotage missions became more frequent, and more intelligence was gathered. Every victory, no matter how minor, was celebrated quietly. Each act of defiance reminded them that they were still alive, still free in ways the aliens could not control. Maya and Ethan worked together to plan a route to the rumored shipyard. They studied star charts, alien patrol patterns, and asteroid fields. It was dangerous work, filled with uncertainty, but every step forward gave them hope. Other humans joined their network, offering resources, knowledge, and support. Slowly, quietly, humans began building something larger than themselves. A plan, a strategy, a dream of freedom. In the quiet hours of space, when the alien patrols were distant and the stars seemed to stretch forever, humans would gather in small groups. They would talk about Earth, about their dreams, about the day they would no longer be slaves. They shared stories of courage, of ingenuity, and of small acts of kindness that defied the alien control. Every story, every memory strengthened the bond between them. Alice looked up at the stars one evening, thinking about the journey ahead. "We are small," she said to Henry, "and the galaxy is huge. But that doesn't matter. We can do this, one step at a time. One plan at a time. We can take our place in the galaxy again." Henry put his hand on hers. "And when the time comes, they will learn that humans are not so easy to control. They will see that we are patient, clever, and willing to fight when it matters most." The human network continued to grow, and with it, the quiet defiance spread. It was a dangerous, fragile thing, but it was alive. The spark that began on Lorien was now flickering in hidden corners of the galaxy, waiting for the right moment to become a blaze. Every human involved understood one truth: the aliens thought they had control. They thought humans were weak. But the truth was different. Humans were resilient, intelligent, and capable of patience and planning. They could endure and they could fight back. And one day, when the time was right, humans would say the words that would change everything. Enough is enough. Until that day, they would wait, plan, and prepare. They would act in the shadows, quietly, carefully, always moving forward. The galaxy might not notice them yet, but soon it would. And when it did, humans would no longer be underestimated, ignored, or controlled. For now, the rebellion was small, almost invisible, hidden in quiet corners of space. But every hacked console, every sabotaged supply ship, every whispered plan, every secret hope, was part of something much larger. Humans were learning to be patient. Humans were learning to be clever. Humans were learning that their greatest weapon was not violence alone, but the refusal to obey endlessly. And in every hidden corner, in every secret station, in every small group of humans daring to dream, one phrase was repeated silently in hearts and minds, growing stronger with every passing day: enough is enough. It was no longer just a thought. It was a promise. It was the first step towards something the galaxy would never forget. The humans had waited, planned, and prepared for months. Every detail had been considered, every risk measured, and every possible outcome discussed. The galaxy had never seen humans act like this before, quiet, patient, and determined, but now the time had come. The first strike was about to begin. Liam crouched in the shadows of a rocky asteroid near the alien outpost. His team of 5 humans moved silently behind him, their eyes sharp, their hands steady. They were armed but not heavily. This was not a fight for destruction. It was a fight for precision. They had been trained to disable, not to harm civilians. Every action had a purpose. Every movement had a goal. "Remember," Liam whispered, "we do this carefully. No unnecessary damage. Civilians first. The station second. If we fail quietly. If we succeed, we show them that humans are not easy to control." The other humans nodded. There was a tension in the air, a mix of fear and excitement. For years, humans had been told they were weak. For years, they had been forced to obey, to survive silently. But now, they were not just surviving, they were acting. They were taking control, even if just for this one moment. The outpost was massive, a hub for alien patrols, supplies, and communication. Its walls were strong, its defenses high, and its sensors sharp. But humans had studied every detail. They had learned the patrol patterns, the blind spots, and the weak points in the defenses. Every route was mapped, every risk accounted for. Liam led his team through a narrow ridge of rock that shielded them from the sensors. Below, the outpost glowed with pale green light, alien symbols flashing on the walls. The humans moved like shadows, careful, precise, and fast. Maya's earlier hacking work had helped them disable some of the security cameras, creating a small window of opportunity. 2 minutes, whispered Ethan, checking a portable timer. 2 minutes until the next patrol rotates. The team held their breath, counting down silently. Time stretched, the seconds dragging like hours. Then, with a silent signal from Liam, they moved forward. The first target was the station's defense grid. A network of lasers, turrets, and alarms protected the entire outpost. If the humans could disable it, the rest of the mission would be easier. Liam and 2 others, Chloe and Owen, approached the control hub. Using small, precise tools and a device Maya had designed, they bypassed the main terminal. Sparks flew quietly as wires were disconnected and circuits rerouted. It was delicate work, each step requiring calm and focus. Behind them, Maya monitored alien communications, ready to warn of any unexpected interference. She could see the patrols moving across the screens, slow and predictable like clockwork. Ethan was outside, ready to create minor distractions if needed. Lights flickered, engines hummed, just enough to pull attention away from the team inside. Finally, after what felt like hours but was only minutes, the defense grid went offline. Turrets powered down, sensors blinked uselessly, and alarms remained silent. Liam allowed himself a small, quiet smile. The first stage was complete. "Move on," he whispered. "Next target, the communication hub." The team advanced carefully through the station's corridors. Alien guards moved past, oblivious to the humans slipping by. Liam held a hand up to signal a pause. They could hear the low hum of machinery, the shuffle of alien feet, and the occasional murmur of voices. Humans had trained for this, but nothing could remove the tension entirely. Finally, they reached the communication hub. Here the humans had to act quickly. They placed small devices on the terminals, designed to disrupt transmissions without harming the station's network permanently. Sparks danced across the screens as the devices worked. Messages that would have alerted the entire coalition to the strike now failed to transmit. For a moment, the humans felt the thrill of control. Outside, the aliens began to notice something was wrong. The first flickers of confusion appeared in their ranks. Turrets remained silent, guards paused, and alarms failed to trigger. It was not just surprise, it was disbelief. Humans, small and underestimated, were acting with precision and intelligence. They were clever, organized, and fearless. Liam led his team to the final objective, the reactor room. Here, a small, controlled sabotage would temporarily shut down the station's energy output, preventing reinforcements or immediate retaliation. The team worked quickly, placing small energy dampeners that caused short circuits, temporarily knocking out power in key sectors. The lights dimmed, alarms stuttered, and the aliens scrambled to respond. From the observation deck of the outpost, alien commanders watched in shock. How is this possible?" one hissed, green eyes wide. "Humans, they are organized. They are planning. They are fearless." Inside the station, Liam felt a rush of adrenaline. For the first time, humans were not just surviving, they were acting as equals. Small victories, careful and calculated, proved that their patience, intelligence, and courage could match the alien strength. The mission was completed without harming a single civilian. The humans had struck quickly, precisely, and then disappeared into the shadows before the aliens could mount a counterattack. They had shown for the first time that humans could fight back. That they could act in ways that the aliens did not expect. That humans were clever, patient, and capable. As they regrouped in a hidden asteroid field, the team allowed themselves a quiet moment of celebration. "We did it," Chloe whispered, her voice trembling with excitement. "We actually did it." Ethan laughed softly. "They will talk about this for weeks. They will realize humans are not so easy to control." Maya smiled at the team, pride shining in her eyes. "And this is only the beginning. Others will see what we've done. Oppressed species across the galaxy will start watching, thinking, maybe we can fight too." Alice, who had joined the team as a strategist, nodded. "They underestimate us. They always do. And that is our advantage. We are patient. We are careful. And when the time comes, we will act. Boldly." The humans knew that the strike would not end the alien domination. It was only a small step, a spark in the darkness. But it was enough to change perception. For the first time, humans were not simply victims or workers. They were actors, planners, and fighters. Their courage and intelligence were visible, even to those who had always thought of them as weak. Across the galaxy, news of the strike spread slowly. Rumors reached other alien-controlled planets, whispered among oppressed species. Stories of the humans' first strike grew with each telling. How they had disabled an outpost without harming civilians, how they had moved with precision and intelligence, and how they had vanished before the aliens could respond. In hidden corners, humans celebrated quietly, but they did not rest. Liam and his team knew that the galaxy would now be watching. The aliens would strengthen defenses, patrols would become stricter, and risks would grow. But they also knew that hope had been born. The first strike was proof that humans could act. That humans could fight. That humans could survive and plan even under oppression. As they drifted in the asteroid field, looking at the distant glow of the alien outpost, Liam whispered to his team, "This is just the beginning. One day, every outpost, every planet, every corner where humans are forced to work, will know that we will not obey blindly. That we are clever. That we are patient. That we are not weak." Alice added quietly, "And when that day comes, the galaxy will remember it. They will remember the day humans decided to act." Maya nodded. "The spark has begun. Soon it will become a fire. The team looked at each other, the bond between them strengthened by the shared danger, the careful planning, and the thrill of success. They had taken the first step, and it had been more than a small victory, it had been proof. Proof that humans were not as small or weak as the galaxy believed. Proof that patience, courage, and cleverness could change perception. Proof that when the time was right, humans could rise. And far across the galaxy, among other oppressed species, eyes widened as news spread quietly. Humans had struck back. They had acted with intelligence and precision. They had shown courage in the face of fear. And perhaps, just perhaps, if humans could act like this, maybe others could too. For Liam, Alice, Maya, Ethan, and Chloe, the moment was brief but unforgettable. They had proven themselves. They had proven humanity. They had launched the first strike. And the galaxy would never see humans in the same way again. The aliens were angry. The first strike had not only shocked them, but it had humiliated them. For the first time, humans had acted with precision, courage, and intelligence. They had shown that they were more than weak laborers, more than tools to be used. The alien coalition could not allow such defiance to go unanswered. Retaliation would be swift, brutal, and overwhelming. Chloe sat in the control room of a hidden human base, her eyes scanning the holomap in front of her. Alien fleets were moving quickly, converging on human positions. Massive warships glided through space like predators, their weapons bristling, their sensors glowing. If the humans were caught in the open, the fleet would destroy them. Owen stood beside her, calm but focused. "They expect us to panic," he said quietly. "They expect us to run. But we won't. We have the advantage of thinking differently. That's our strength." Chloe nodded. "We'll use the nebula of shadows. They won't expect a human fleet to navigate it with precision. And we'll use the terrain to our advantage. Every asteroid, every gas cloud, every shadow will help us." The humans were few, but they were organized. Years of patience, planning, and hidden resistance had taught them how to act as a unit, how to think strategically, and how to survive. They knew they could not match the alien fleet in sheer numbers or firepower, but they could outsmart them, outmaneuver them, and turn the terrain to their advantage. As the alien ships advanced, the human fleet moved into position. Small frigates, sleek and agile, weaved through the dense clouds of the nebula. Sensors flickered as the thick gases interfered with alien scanners. The humans were shadows in the chaos, difficult to track, even harder to target. Owen directed the fleet with calm authority. "Frigates Alpha and Beta take the left flank. Gamma and Delta cover the right. Maya, begin electronic interference. Make their communications unreliable. Liam, lead the diversion squad. Draw them into the asteroid field." Chloe watched the screen, heart racing. Every movement mattered. Every second was crucial. The alien commanders were experienced, but they had never faced an enemy that moved with this kind of precision and coordination. Humans were small, but they were clever. As the battle began, the humans executed their plan flawlessly. The diversion squad darted forward, drawing the largest alien ships toward the asteroid field. Sensors jammed, communications flickered, and the aliens became disoriented. They fired blindly into the nebula, their shots bouncing off gas clouds and asteroids, missing every human ship. Owen's voice was steady. "Hold formation. Patience. Wait for the right moment." And then it came. Using the nebula's shadows and the hidden channels they had charted, the human fleet struck. Small, agile frigates launched precision strikes against alien support vessels, disabling engines and weapons without causing widespread destruction. The humans moved quickly, disappearing into the gas clouds before the aliens could respond. Chloe felt a thrill she had never known. Years of hiding, surviving, and planning had led to this moment. Humans were no longer just victims. They were actors. They were strategists. They were a force to be reckoned with. The aliens, frustrated and confused, attempted to regroup. Their larger ships moved clumsily through the nebula, colliding with asteroids and each other. The humans had predicted this, setting up traps and decoys to maximize confusion. Every move the aliens made played into the humans' hands. News of the humans' success spread quickly through hidden channels. Other oppressed species, long suffering under alien control, began to take notice. Whispers turned into conversations, and conversations turned into hope. If humans, small and underestimated, could act with such skill and courage, maybe others could too. Back in the control room, Chloe and Owen watched as the alien fleet faltered. "They won't give up easily," Owen said. "But they've learned something important. Humans cannot be ignored." Liam and his team had moved through the nebula, striking from unexpected directions. Their knowledge of terrain, their timing, and their courage made the aliens hesitate. For the first time, humans were not just surviving, they were controlling the flow of battle, dictating the terms, and proving their intelligence and bravery. Alice, observing the battle from a nearby command post, whispered to herself, "This is what we've been waiting for. Not just survival, not just small acts of defiance, but proof that we can fight back. That we are not weak. That we are not tools. That we are humans." The battle in the nebula of shadows continued for hours, but the outcome became clear. The alien fleet was forced to retreat, battered, confused, and humiliated. The humans had achieved victory not through brute force, but through cunning, strategy, and careful planning. Every human ship that survived was a testament to their patience, intelligence, and courage. As the last alien ships disappeared into the distance, the human fleet regrouped. They had won a small but significant battle, one that would be remembered. They had shown the galaxy that humans were more than laborers, more than victims, more than tools. Humans could think, plan, and act with precision and intelligence. Chloe turned to Owen, a smile breaking across her face. "We did it. They underestimated us and we proved them wrong." Owen nodded. "And this is just the beginning. They will be stronger next time. But so will we. We have learned, we have adapted, and we have shown the galaxy that humans are a force to be reckoned with." Across the galaxy, stories began to spread. Other species who had suffered under alien control listened closely. Humans had acted and they had won. For years, humans had been dismissed, overlooked, and oppressed. Now they were no longer invisible. Now they were visible. Now they were dangerous in ways the aliens had never imagined. Back in their hidden bases, humans celebrated quietly but did not rest. Each victory was small but powerful, a reminder that patience and intelligence could overcome fear and oppression. Plans were made for the future, for larger strikes, for greater challenges. The spark that had begun months ago in hidden corners of the galaxy was now aflame, burning brighter with every act of courage, every carefully executed plan, and every human willing to risk everything for freedom. Alice, Liam, Maya, Ethan, Chloe, and Owen gathered to review the battle. "We have shown them that humans are clever," Liam said. "That we can fight. That we can survive. And that we will not be controlled forever." Maya nodded. "Others will see this. Other humans, other oppressed species. They will know that resistance is possible. That patience, planning, and courage can change everything." Henry, observing quietly, added, "The galaxy is beginning to notice us. They will no longer ignore humans. They will no longer see us as weak. They will remember this day, the day we acted and the day we won." The nebula of shadows became a symbol. Not just of battle but of cunning, intelligence, and courage. It showed that even a small, underestimated species could turn the tide with strategy and patience. Humans had learned to use their minds as weapons, their courage as armor, and their unity as strength. The victory did not make them arrogant. It reminded them that the road ahead would be dangerous, that the alien coalition would not rest, and that every future battle would test their skills and courage. But it also reminded them of something more important. Humans were capable of more than anyone had imagined. Humans were survivors. Humans were clever. Humans were brave. And as the last human ships disappeared into the shadows of the nebula, moving back to their hidden bases, one truth became clear. The galaxy would never see humans the same way again. Humans were no longer just survivors. Humans were a force, small but powerful, patient but daring, intelligent and fearless. They had ignited the flames of resistance, and the fire would continue to grow. In the weeks that followed, whispers spread. Humans had acted in the nebula of shadows, and their victory inspired others. Rumors of human cunning and bravery traveled from one star system to another. Oppressed species began to hope, to dream, and to believe that resistance was possible. The small victory of humans had begun to change the galaxy's perception. And deep within the hidden bases, the human leaders prepared for the next challenge. Every plan, every maneuver, every careful calculation brought them closer to a larger goal. The aliens were strong, but humans had patience, intelligence, and courage on their side. The flames of resistance were growing, and soon, they would blaze across the galaxy in ways no one could ignore. Chloe looked at the team, her eyes shining with determination. "We have started something bigger than ourselves. Something the galaxy will remember. This is just the beginning. We will continue. We will rise. And one day humans will no longer be underestimated." Owen nodded. "The nebula of shadows is a start. The galaxy will see what we can do. And when that day comes, humans will no longer be invisible. We will be a force they cannot ignore, a force they cannot defeat easily." Alice added quietly, "And they will know finally that humans are not weak. Humans are clever, patient, and willing to fight. That is what makes us strong. The humans of the Nebula of Shadows had proven a truth long forgotten by the galaxy. Intelligence, courage, and careful planning could overcome even the strongest foes. The flames of resistance had begun, and nothing could extinguish them. And the galaxy would never forget the day humans showed that even the smallest, underestimated species could rise, fight, and win. The alien coalition had suffered more than they expected. The humans were clever, coordinated, and daring. Every attack, every strategic move had cost them ships, resources, and pride. The Nebula of Shadows had shown them that humans could not be ignored. And now, the leaders of the alien coalition were faced with a difficult choice. Continue to fight a species that was small but brilliant, or seek a solution that would cost them less and preserve their own strength. In a private chamber aboard the flagship of the alien coalition, the leaders gathered. Their bodies were large and imposing, their eyes glowing with anger and frustration. Yet beneath their fury there was concern. They could no longer dismiss humans as weak or insignificant. "How many ships have we lost in the last month?" one commander hissed, voice low and controlled. "How many supply lines delayed? How many outposts sabotaged?" Another shook its head, its antennae quivering. "Too many. And the humans, they are not predictable. They move in ways we do not expect. They think carefully, plan carefully, and act with precision. They are dangerous more than we imagined." A third spoke, its voice sharp. "If we continue this war, it will cost more than we are willing to pay. We cannot risk everything for pride alone. We must consider negotiation." The word hung in the air. Negotiation. A concept they had rarely used with any species. The alien coalition was used to control, obedience, and fear. But the humans had changed the rules. The leaders realized that to continue crushing the humans could mean endless loss, endless frustration, and a weakening of their own power. Meanwhile, in a hidden human base, Alice and Henry prepared for the unexpected. Communications had reached them, encrypted and secretive. The aliens were requesting a meeting. The humans had expected retaliation, but a direct negotiation was something different. Something dangerous but also full of opportunity. Alice looked at Henry, her expression calm but determined. "They want to talk. This could be a trap, but it could also be our chance. We will not ask for revenge. We will ask for what we deserve: freedom, respect, and equality." Henry nodded. "We have patience, we have courage, and we have intelligence. These negotiations will not be easy, but we are ready. Every move counts. Every word counts. We have prepared for this." The humans traveled through space under a flag of truce, small ships carrying representatives of the human coalition. They approached the alien flagship cautiously, sensors alert for any sign of betrayal. Liam, Maya, Chloe, and Owen were with Alice and Henry, forming a small, united front. Their presence showed unity and confidence. Inside the alien chamber, humans faced the leaders of the coalition. The aliens were imposing, but the humans stood tall. They were small in size compared to their counterparts, but they carried the weight of their victories, their intelligence, and their courage. Alice spoke first. Her voice was calm, clear, and strong. "We are not here for revenge. We are here for respect, freedom, and a chance to live without oppression. Humans are not tools. Humans are not weak. We have proven our courage, our intelligence, and our unity. We deserve recognition, not fear." The alien leaders listened, some with skepticism, some with anger, and some with curiosity. Henry continued, his tone firm but diplomatic. "We have fought where necessary, struck when we had to, and survived because of our patience, planning, and determination. We ask only for the chance to exist as equals, not as slaves, not as tools, and not as objects of fear." A silence fell over the chamber. The humans' words were not threats, yet they carried power. They were proof that courage and intelligence could change the balance. The aliens realized that fear alone had not controlled humans, and that continued conflict could only weaken them further. Outside, in hidden corners of the galaxy, other species watched and listened. They had suffered under alien control for centuries, forced to obey, forced to serve, forced to hide. But humans had acted. Humans had fought. Humans had survived. And now humans were speaking with authority, demanding respect. The message was clear: courage, unity, and intelligence were more powerful than fear. The oppressed species began to hope. If humans could stand against the alien coalition, maybe they could too. If humans could demand equality, maybe others could find the strength to do the same. Back in the chamber, the alien leaders whispered among themselves. They weighed their options carefully. To continue fighting would risk endless loss and potential humiliation. To negotiate could save resources and restore some stability. The humans had forced them into a decision they had never imagined, one that would change the balance of the galaxy. Finally, one leader spoke, its voice deliberate and measured. "Humans, we hear your words. You have proven your strength in ways we did not anticipate. We cannot ignore your courage, your intelligence, and your unity. Perhaps, negotiation is the best path forward." Alice and Henry nodded, careful not to show relief too early. Negotiation was only the beginning, but it was a crucial step. "We are ready to discuss terms," Alice said. "Terms that include freedom for humans, respect for our species, and the opportunity to choose our own path in the galaxy." The aliens hesitated but agreed. The discussions were long and careful, with humans advocating for equality and respect, and aliens attempting to preserve some control. But humans were patient and persistent. They reminded the aliens of every victory, every act of cleverness, and every demonstration of courage. Slowly, the negotiations began to shift the balance. For the first time in centuries, humans were not silent or obedient. They were negotiators, thinkers, and leaders. Their patience, intelligence, and courage forced the alien coalition to consider a new way of governing. Respect, equality, and the recognition of human ability became central to the talks. Outside the chambers, oppressed species watched closely. They whispered to each other, hoping, imagining, and believing that change was possible. Humans had acted not out of anger or desire for revenge, but out of determination for freedom. That example inspired others to believe that fear was not the only path to survival. Courage, unity, and intelligence could change the galaxy. Days turned into weeks as negotiations continued. The aliens slowly accepted that humans could not be defeated by fear alone. The humans presented clear terms: no more forced labor, recognition of human colonies, and the right to defend themselves and choose their allies. Every demand was reasonable, firm, and backed by proof of human ability and intelligence. Finally, the coalition agreed. The humans' patience, courage, and strategy had worked. The galaxy was beginning to shift. Alliances changed, old oppressors reconsidered their rule, and a new balance emerged. Humans had proven that even a small, underestimated species could influence the galaxy not through brute strength, but through cleverness, unity, and courage. Alice and Henry returned to their fleet, greeted by the cheers of humans who had waited patiently for this moment. Liam, Maya, Chloe, and Owen celebrated quietly, understanding that every action had contributed to this victory. Humans were no longer tools or laborers. They were equals, respected, and feared not for violence, but for their courage, intelligence, and determination. Henry looked at Alice. "We have shown the galaxy what humans are capable of. We did not fight for revenge. We fought for respect. And now the galaxy is beginning to understand." Alice nodded. "We have done more than survive. We have led by example. We have inspired others. And we have proven that courage, unity, and intelligence are more powerful than fear." Across the galaxy, the change was subtle but real. Oppressed species began to speak differently, humans began to travel freely, and old oppressors reconsidered their strategies. The galaxy had learned a lesson that would not be forgotten. Underestimating humans was a dangerous mistake. In hidden bases, humans prepared for the future. There would be challenges, new threats, and dangers ahead. But the moment of choice had arrived, and humans had acted wisely. They had demanded respect, they had claimed freedom, and they had changed the course of history. The message spread quietly but clearly: humans were no longer victims, no longer weak, and no longer invisible. Courage, unity, and intelligence had carried them through trials, battles, and negotiations. And now, the galaxy was beginning to bend to the will of those who had been underestimated for too long. Alice, standing before the humans gathered in celebration, spoke softly but with authority. "We have not acted out of anger, but out of the desire for respect. We have proven that fear is not the only way to control the galaxy. We have shown that intelligence, courage, and unity can change everything. And we will continue to protect that truth for ourselves and for all who are oppressed." Henry added, "This is only the beginning. The galaxy will remember that humans acted not blindly but wisely. We will continue to be patient, to be clever, and to be strong. And every species that has suffered under fear will know that courage can overcome oppression." And so, the moment of choice became a turning point. The galaxy shifted, alliances changed, and humans proved that even a small, underestimated species could rise not through violence alone, but through intelligence, courage, and unity. The oppressed watched, inspired, and the galaxy began to transform. Humans had chosen wisely, acted boldly, and shown the universe what they were capable of. And the galaxy would never forget the day humans demanded respect and freedom, and won. The galaxy had changed. What had once been ruled by fear, oppression, and control now had a new balance. Humans, small in numbers but vast in courage, intelligence, and determination, had transformed their place in the stars. No longer were they seen as weak laborers, tools, or subjects. They had become partners, innovators, and allies, recognized for their ability to act, to plan, and to inspire. Maya floated in the observation deck of a human command station, looking out at the stars. The nebulae, the planets, and the distant fleets moved like silent witnesses to the new era that humans had helped create. She remembered the early days, hiding in shadows, sabotaging supplies, and whispering the phrase that had become their quiet anthem, "Enough is enough." That phrase had sparked something far greater than anyone had imagined. Ethan joined her, his expression calm but reflective. "It's hard to believe how far we've come," he said quietly. "From hiding on Lorien to striking the first outpost to negotiating with the coalition itself, everything feels like a lifetime ago." Maya smiled. "It does. But it also feels like it was meant to happen. Every step, every careful plan, every act of courage, it led to this. We didn't just survive. We changed the galaxy." Chloe and Owen were nearby, examining reports from human colonies and allied species. Trade routes that had been restricted were now open. Communication channels that had been monitored and censored were now free. Human technology, once used only for survival and sabotage, was now shared with willing allies across the stars. Their ideas, their creativity, and their willingness to act were reshaping the galaxy in ways no one had expected. Alice and Henry moved through the command station, visiting teams and colonies, ensuring coordination and, most importantly, listening. They wanted to understand how humans and their allies could continue to grow, to cooperate, and to maintain the fragile peace that had been achieved. The day humans had said, "Enough," was remembered not for the battles fought, but for the courage and strength that made the battles possible. It was remembered for the patience to plan, the intelligence to act carefully, and the unity that made them a force the galaxy could not ignore. In the council chambers of the newly formed Human Ally Alliance, representatives from various species gathered. Some had once been oppressed by the alien coalition, others had been neutral observers, and some had even tried to remain loyal to old powers. But now, all eyes were on humans, the species that had proven courage, cleverness, and determination could overcome fear and oppression. Liam spoke first, his voice calm but firm. "We didn't fight for glory. We fought for the right to exist freely, for respect, and for the chance to choose our own destiny. That is what matters. And now, it is not just humans who benefit. Every species that desires freedom, fairness, and cooperation can share in this new beginning." A young alien delegate who had once viewed humans as insignificant, nodded slowly. "I see now that they are more than we imagined. They are wise, patient, and capable. We have much to learn from them." Henry looked around the chamber. "This is the moment when the galaxy can truly change. Not because of fear, not because of dominance, but because of intelligence, courage, and unity. We must continue to act with care and responsibility. Our strength lies not in destruction, but in cooperation and foresight." Maya, watching from the side, reflected on the journey. She remembered hiding in dark corridors, sabotaging alien supplies, and feeling the rush of the first strike. She remembered navigating the nebula of shadows, turning the tide of battle with strategy rather than firepower. She remembered negotiating with alien leaders, showing that humans could demand respect without seeking revenge. And now, all those moments had built a legacy. The galaxy was listening. Humans were no longer subjects. They were respected partners, innovators, and examples of courage and intelligence. The new human fleets moved across space not as conquerors, but as protectors, allies, and collaborators. They helped colonies rebuild, they shared knowledge, and they maintained the fragile peace that had been hard-won. Every human ship that traveled carried a message: "We are capable, we are wise, and we will act to protect freedom." Ethan and Chloe worked on joint technology projects with other species. Their designs were simple but brilliant, focusing on efficiency, safety, and sustainability. Every improvement in communication, transportation, or energy was shared freely with allies. Humans had learned that true strength came not from domination, but from contribution, cooperation, and innovation. Owen oversaw training programs for humans and allies alike, teaching strategy, planning, and careful decision-making. The lessons were clear: patience, courage, and intelligence were more powerful than fear, and unity was stronger than isolation. Humans had learned these lessons through struggle, and now they were teaching them across the stars. Alice and Henry stood together on a balcony overlooking the bustling hub of the command station. Ships moved to and from colonies, communication signals flashed across the screens, and teams from many species worked side by side. It was a vision of a galaxy slowly healing from oppression, a galaxy learning that respect and cooperation could replace fear and control. The galaxy is different now, Alice said quietly. Not because we fought battles but because we had the courage to act, to plan, and to demand what was right. That is what changed everything. Henry nodded. We've proven that strength is not only measured by weapons, but by patience, intelligence, and the ability to unite. Humans are no longer subjects. We are equals. And that is a lesson the galaxy will never forget. Far away, on distant planets, humans and their allies celebrated quietly. It was not a celebration of war or conquest, but a celebration of survival, courage, and the chance to choose one's own path. Children listened to stories of the first strike, the nebula of shadows, and the negotiations that reshaped the galaxy. They learned that humans had once been underestimated, but that patience, unity, and intelligence could change everything. Alice walked through one of the colonies, observing the construction of new settlements and the arrival of supplies. Humans worked alongside aliens and former subjects, building a new world together. There was laughter, cooperation, and a sense of hope that had not existed before. The galaxy was not perfect, but it was beginning to reflect the values that humans had fought to uphold. Maya and Ethan joined a group of young humans and aliens, showing them how to operate ships and devices safely. We must teach the next generation, Maya said. They will inherit this galaxy, and they must know that courage, intelligence, and unity are the keys to survival and progress. Chloe and Owen coordinated trade routes, ensuring that every colony received the resources it needed. We've come far, Chloe said, and we still have work to do. But we've proven that humans can shape their own destiny, and that alone is worth everything. The day humans said, enough, was remembered not just for the battles, but for the decision to act with courage and intelligence, for the patience to plan, and for the unity that turns small victories into lasting change. Across the galaxy, history books, stories, and songs would remember the moment when humans no longer accepted oppression. Liam, watching over a busy spaceport, reflected quietly. The galaxy will remember that humans acted. That we chose to be clever, courageous, and united. That we shaped our own destiny. That is the legacy we leave. Alice added, and it will not end here. Every choice we make, every step we take will continue to shape the galaxy. We have proven that humans are capable. We have shown that even a small species can rise, not with fear, but with intelligence, courage, and unity. The stars seemed brighter now, reflecting the promise of a new era. Humans moved among them not as subjects, not as slaves but as equals, partners, and innovators. They had shaped a new dawn, one built on the strength to stand, the courage to act, and the wisdom to choose. Maya looked at Ethan, Chloe, and Owen, her heart full. We have come so far. From fear, from hiding, from doubt, to this. We are not just survivors. We are humans, and the galaxy finally knows it. Ethan smiled. We have learned that strength is not only measured in battles but in patience, intelligence, and unity. And that is the true power humans have shown. Chloe and Owen nodded. This is only the beginning, Owen said. But it is the most important beginning. We have proven that humans can act, choose, and shape their destiny. Alice and Henry looked out at the galaxy, their hearts full of hope and pride. The day humans said, enough, will be remembered forever, Alice said softly. Not for the battles fought, but for the strength to stand, to choose, and to create a future worthy of our courage and intelligence. And as the stars continued to shine, humans continued to move among them, not as subjects, not as victims, not as weak or powerless, but as partners, innovators, and allies. The galaxy had changed and the humans had led the way. The day humans decided to rise was no longer a story of survival. It was a story of choice, courage, and intelligence. It was a story of a species that refused to be underestimated and shaped a galaxy in its own image. And from that day forward, the galaxy would never forget the humans' courage, patience, and determination. They had acted. They had chosen. They had shaped their own destiny. Humans had finally said and meant it, enough.